Welcome everyone to our new Guilford High School. I'm Rick Nicenti, the luckiest principal in the state of Connecticut to be administering to this school in this community. This beautiful $92 million structure is spectacular. That's the best word I can think of, and you'll actually get to experience that as we walk through it today. On behalf of our entire faculty and staff and our student body, thank you so much for building us this brand new high school. We're in the front foyer right now, the front entrance of our school, and it's beautiful. A school that's very transparent, a school that's open, a school that really facilitates collaboration, it really facilitates students working together with each other, off of each other, a facility that really enhances learning for our teachers. It's beautiful. And when people come into our school and enter this front foyer, they're going to be hit immediately with what we're all about. Embedded in our floor, as you can see, is an 8-foot diameter piece of pink granite from our local quarry. And we had a graphic artist actually morph the 1914-1915 class shields into one, so that it really speaks to the history of our school, the history of our class shields. Each year, the graduating senior class presents me with a class shield, a shield that really embodies their 4 years, their tenure here at Guilford High School, and the society both within the school and outside of the school. And the shields are an important part of this history. So we put that right here and embedded it in the floor so that when people do enter, they get a good sense of what we're all about. And to my left is something I've never seen in a high school before. It is a transparent movie screen that can project video of anything that we would like here at our school. Our film club actually is going to coordinate the production of what is transparent on that screen. But that screen can actually present, we can film students in class at a lab, a science lab, or our chorus rehearsing, our orchestra rehearsing, an English class, and we can actually project that on the screen. We can project our past state championship soccer game. We can use it as a message board as well. So when visitors come into our school, they're hit with the history of our school, as well as the academic and extracurricular activities that are occurring daily in our school. Let's go further into the building. We're on the second floor of our 3-story building, and this is the floor that our entrance is on as well. And you're looking down the main corridor, much shorter than the old corridors in the old high school, because this building is on a smaller footprint. The square footage is much more because the classrooms are larger, the hallway spaces are larger as well. But you're looking south toward New York, and as you can see, there's lots of glass, lots of transparency. Above me is an atrium of glass that runs the entire north-south of the building that lets natural sunlight stream through 3 floors of our building. And all the way to the end, you can see, when we get there, you can actually see New York. You can actually see Long Island Sound. The views are spectacular, but more importantly, it provides access for students to a really clean and energetic environment with all that natural sunlight coming through the building. Let's go further inside. So we're standing in one of our 3 internet cafes, and as you can see from the furniture, the architects did a great job in designing some of these pieces for our student body. These will be used by students who are not accessing the library, but maybe want to work on projects here in this little internet cafe that we have. Everything's wireless here, understandably, and so students will have access to several of these throughout the building. Behind me and to my left is our library. It's L-shaped. That is soundproof glass that you see, and it overlooks the commons area or our cafeteria. And we're going to go in the library very shortly, but again, it's state-of-the-art inside our library. I think you're really going to enjoy that. As you move closer, you can actually see the design of the commons area is constructed in a way that lets a lot of natural sunlight through. There are sawtooth ceiling designs up above with 8 to 10 foot panes of glass that allow natural sunlight to flow through and down into the commons area. So there are no lights down in that commons area right now, but as bright as it is, that's all feeding off of natural sunlight. Behind me, take a look at this. This is our feature stairwell to my left. We have 3 stairwells that will actually connect all 3 floors and will actually transport our students throughout the entire day. Our feature stairwell is a little bit larger than this, wider than the stairwells at the north and south end of our building. It is ceramic tile, lots of glass in the stairwell, so it's very, very transparent as well. And then as we move closer into this foyer area, I just have a couple more features I'd like to show you. I brought you a little bit closer to the window area because I wanted to show you some design features of the school itself. Before we position the school, we actually study the motion of the sun, and the feature of this, a great unique feature of this building, is it harvests as much natural sunlight during the day as possible. So our building is positioned as such, and along the windows you will see a construction piece that actually harvests the sunlight. Those bars that you see running horizontally across the window, and in some areas of the building they run vertically depending on the position of the sun. But they actually harvest sunlight to bring into the classrooms so that we can feed off of natural sunlight in the instructional area as well. And then in the corner of all the windows you can see the room number. And we did that purposely for safety and security, so that if we have an emergency in this building, if we have an intruder in the building, if we have a fire in the building, if we have an emergency in a classroom with a student that we need help immediately, emergency vehicles can respond to the exterior of our school, and they can pinpoint to the exact classroom where we're having the issue by those numbers that are in those window corners. And one thing I wanted to mention to you as well, we have 136 security cameras both inside and outside the building. All administrators have a small flat screen TV in their offices that are populated with live video, streaming video from all the security cameras, so that any one time during the day we can look up and we can see who's in our hallways, who might be outside our building at our doors as well. There are two large screens in the front office as well that our secretaries will be able to look up at, and those two will be populated by live streaming video of our security cameras. We do have a buzz-in system at our front door as well, so and a two-tier buzz-in system, so that visitors, when they do arrive, will buzz in. They then are allowed to come into an atrium that is secure, and they have to buzz in one more time to state their business before they actually enter our school. A very unique and a great feature to our school. And one thing on a lighter side I just wanted to point out to you is our own little Guilford Green. The architects did a great job of designing this berm, but our music department already has some grand visions of having concerts out there, of allowing students to sit on the green while they perform in the patio area. So that's a unique feature I think that you'll hear more about as we move into the school year. We're in our Information Technology Center right now, or in the old days we would call this the library, but we're real proud of some of the features that occur in this library. In fact, we'll also use it for our community meetings, such as Board of Education meetings, and we'll open it to the public as well for any other meetings that they might need to have in our building. But to my left is a big piece of technology that we've incorporated in our school. I've not seen this in a high school before. I have seen it on college campuses before. And our vision is to have students sitting around this piece of technology actually working on projects together, feeding off the same network, working collaboratively, integrating their thoughts and integrating their work with each other for presentations into the classroom. It also has a camera mounted beneath it as well. And our vision is, as you know, we are trying to bring the International Baccalaureate program to our school. We're in the application stage right now. The first stage has been accepted. We're moving into year number 2, and we are very, very excited about the IB program coming here. But we are envisioning that our teachers will be able to sit around this piece of technology as well, and they will be able to actually have video conferences with teachers around the world. There are over 1,000 IB schools throughout the world, so our teachers can actually interact and have conversations with teachers in Belgium, teachers in Australia, teachers in England, teachers in California, so that we are really harvesting the best worldwide practices that we possibly can and bring them into our school. There are 2 of these that we have here. They take about 4.5 hours each to assemble, but we're real excited about putting this into place at the beginning of this school year. Let's move this way. We've moved a little deeper into our Information Technology Center, and I wanted to bring you into actually the main body of the center itself. This is actually an area that not only will our students use and teachers use during the day, but in the evening, this will be open to public meetings. Our Board of Education will meet here. Our building committee is presently meeting here as well. It's featured by 2 projectors that are in the ceiling. We have 2 screens that actually recess into the ceiling, so that if the Board of Ed is showing a PowerPoint or a video, we can lower both screens. We don't have to move furniture around. The audience can feed off of and look at one screen while the Board of Ed looks at the other. So we've made it as user-friendly student-friendly as possible and as flexible as possible. If you notice, all the tables have casters so that we can move this room around as much as possible and as easy as possible. And we invite our community to utilize this area as much as possible. And in fact, as we move throughout the building today, you will see that there are a number of areas where our community can access this on the evenings, on the weekends, during the evenings, and during the instructional day even. We're on the third floor, and I thought I'd take you into one of our 5 pods. All 5 pods are identical. There are 2 pods on the third floor, 2 on the second floor, and 1 on the first floor. They house all our instructional areas, such as math, science, social studies, English, and world language. They house all the student lockers. Every pod is identical. It has a teacher station. We have 12 teachers to a pod, 9 classrooms, 2 of which are science labs joined by a prep room, a boys and girls restroom for our students, as well as a storage room and a conference room. All of that is housed in a pod, in addition to a breakout area, which we'll describe a little bit more specifically once we enter the pod. I'm going to take you into a classroom right now because I'm really excited to share with you the features of the classroom. So come on into our pod on the third floor. So welcome to pod 300C. This is one of our third floor classrooms facing the south. And I wanted to talk to you about this classroom because all the classrooms in the pods are similar. And I wanted to share with you the features in each of the pods. As you see behind me, this has a south view from this classroom. You have again the window, the sunlight controls above me that actually feature, they actually do things in 2 ways. They keep or prevent the room from overheating, but they also serve as a piece of equipment that attracts and harvests sunlight for the classroom. And when the sunlight reaches a certain candle light in the classroom, a bank of lights will shut off to help save energy as well. You notice there are no student desks in our school. We actually have tables that are on casters as well as the chairs itself. You have rectangular tables, you have half moon tables, and it really affords to the flexibility of a classroom. So the teachers can come in, they can arrange their rooms in any way for any lesson, and it can be different every day. So it really offers flexibility, really offers opportunities for collaboration with each other and engagement, student engagement. You really won't find a lot of students just sitting there not participating when you can arrange your classroom any given day for any given lesson in ways that really engage students, and we're real proud about that. There are 6 outlets in the floor as well, and we put those outlets in the floor purposely because we expect our students to charge their handheld personal devices in those outlets. We want, our vision for this school is that our students will bring their own personal handheld devices to school every day and use them for instructional purposes, and that our students will integrate those into their lessons as well. So we put charging portals into the floor for that purpose. Every classroom has 2 whiteboards and a projector that interacts with one of the whiteboards. Every classroom has a sound system in the ceiling that integrates with the teacher's laptop. There are no teacher desks in our classroom as well. Instead, we have high tabletops and high chairs as well that the teacher can actually put their laptop or their lesson plans here. They can also use it for a small instructional area when they're working individually with students. As well, every classroom has a portable whiteboard. And every classroom is actually color designed in a very unique way. When the architects designed the school, they had a palette committee that actually colored the floors differently. So the first floor has earth tones, the second floor is Guilford Green, and the third floor is sky blue. So on the third floor, you'll see blue throughout the third floor, and I think they've done a great job in making our environment very welcoming, very inviting, and we're happy about this. And I'll share with you a couple more features of each of our classrooms. Each classroom has cubbies or bookcases for our teachers to utilize, as well as a cabinet that can be locked and secured for their personal items as well. And then as you enter the classroom, every classroom has a telephone, every classroom has an emergency call button, and every classroom has a thermostat control where the teacher can actually regulate the temperature by 2 degrees one way or the other. Let's go out into our breakout area, and I'll show you some additional features of the pod. So every pod also has a breakout area, and this will serve as an instructional area for teachers and a learning area for students as well. As you can see to my right, you can see some of the furniture that the architects designed that's very comfortable, but also collaborative. The furniture can be moved around. So if teachers want to send students out into this area, if they're working on a project to present to the class and they want to rehearse out here or get organized before they come back into the classroom for their presentation, they can do so. If two teachers are teaching side by side, the same grade level, the same curriculum, and they want to combine classes, and a teacher wants to bring a group of students out here to work individually on a lesson, they can do that and then bring them back into the classroom. Every breakout area has a color printer and a black and white printer for our students. In the old school, the kids would have to print to a classroom that could be quite a distance from their original classroom. Here, every pod has a black and white and a color printer for students to print to. Also in our pods is an internet cafe. So our students can actually bring their laptops or their electronic device. They can work from these tabletops here. They can hardwire into the internet, or they can also charge their electronic device as well. Something that's not on display yet, we haven't actually installed them yet, but there'll be a flat screen TV in every pod. That will be a data messaging board. And those are located throughout the school. There are data messaging boards in the main hallways. There are data messaging boards in the cafeteria. In fact, a jumbo screen in the cafeteria that will actually display messages throughout the day, every day. It could be about events that are coming up that week or that evening, cancellations of games or activities, or any messages that I desire to actually present to our students. So that's a very unique feature. Let's go into the teacher workspace. We're inside a teacher workstation in the pod, and again, as I said earlier, we have 5 pods, and each pod is identical. So what you see in here are 12 teacher workstations. There are 6 desks on each side. They come with a teacher chair, a portable file cabinet. The teachers actually can wheel to their classroom if they like, if they have plans in here, or other instructional materials they want to bring to class, and it fits very neatly under the desk. You also have file cabinets available for our teachers. They have a cubby where they can put their valuables and lock them up as well, for file drawers also. As well, another feature in the teacher workstation is a unisex restroom. So the teachers do not have to leave their pod should they need to use the restroom. And come on with me and I'll take you into their kitchen area as well. Each teacher workstation in each of the 5 pods has a kitchen area. And as you can see behind me, the kitchen area comes with a double-wide stainless steel refrigerator, a stainless steel microwave, and a stainless steel dishwasher and sink as well. Nice long table for our teachers to spread out and enjoy lunch together, or if they want to spread out and work on some projects, they can do that. Each teacher workstation has a large copy machine as well that will that our 12 teachers in this pod can work off of. You see a phone right here. We still have a number of punch list items still to do to get ready for the opening of our school day, our school year, but it's all coming along very nicely. All right, let's go this way. We're in our one of our 3 art classrooms, and this happens to be our ceramics or pottery room. And it's really, really special to us because it's taken a whole different life coming into our brand new school. If you've ever been in this art classroom in our old school, you saw 3 potter wheels only, and those didn't work all the time. You had roofing nails sticking through the ceiling, and you had a kiln that was actually housed in the same room as the students, and that kiln probably broke down once a year on us. And it just wasn't safe either, being in that same room. And we've really, really brought this to another level, and we really thank you for that. Before me are 12 potter wheels, and instead of taking 2 weeks to get a project done for 15 students, this teacher now will really be able to increase production and move their lessons along a lot quicker because of the access to more potter wheels. And they're the best. We're looking forward to actually putting those into use. As you can see, there's lots of table space for our kids to spread out and work on their projects. This also fronts the East Courtyard area that has a door that students will be able to access the East Courtyard and actually work out there. That's going to be used as an instructional space as well, an outdoor art lab, if you will. So you'll see our students out there during the instructional day working on pieces of their work. And behind me is the kiln room. So I asked you to come on into the kiln room with me. We don't have one, but we have 2 state-of-the-art, brand new kilns in their own kiln room. So we're in one of our 3 music rooms, and this happens to be our orchestra room. And again, our music rooms are characterized by lots of space, high ceilings, and lots of glass. As you can see above me, there are sound clouds. Those are an integral part of the acoustic system in each of the music rooms. And beyond the sound clouds are sound pads They are pads that are embedded into the roof or the ceiling of each classroom, again, to assist with the acoustics. Notice how the architects have designed the walls in a very unique way to help with the acoustics. And the darker shade walls, and I don't know if you'll be able to actually distinguish these on camera, but these darker shade walls are actually acoustical panels that help with sound management in this classroom. All of the chairs and the stands are brand new, and the chairs are configured as such which force students actually sit up straight. So they're wonderfully designed chairs. You can see the instructor stand is new, almost like hydraulics. I mean, it is a beautiful piece and well-deserving of our instructors who have taken our music program arguably to probably the highest level in the state of Connecticut. It's a tremendous music program. State-of-the-art speakers that have been installed on each of the walls behind me. You have a microphone that hangs from one of the sound clouds above so that we can record on a daily basis the work that we produce in here. Every music classroom has a whiteboard with an interactive projector as well. Let's move to the auditorium area. Welcome to our theater, and I always reference this as our little mini Bushnell theater. It has all the features of a professional theater, and if you've ever been to any of our performances here at this school, you know that we are very deserving of this facility. As you can see throughout, it seats over 600 people in this audience, as our older schools only sat about 425, 435 people, so we've increased the capacity for audiences. If you look to in front of the stage, you can actually see an orchestra pit. We have an orchestra pit that we will use quite often throughout the year. But when we're not using the orchestra, we can actually populate it with seating. We'll get an extra about 20 or 30 seats in the orchestra pit. When we're not using those seats, they can be stored underneath the stage. They're just finishing the stage floor right now. This is still a construction zone, so they still have a piece of work, a little bit of work still to do in the auditorium. If you look again to the back of our auditorium, we have a sound and a lighting booth, which we've never had before. If you went into our old school, you saw kids dangerously climbing scaffolding to do the lighting. You saw 3 or 4 rows of seating with soundboards over them because we did not have a sound or lighting booth. That is a very professional sound and lighting booth. There are 5 catwalks in the auditorium, 2 catwalks over the audience area, and there are 3 catwalks over the performing area. Behind that wood grain wall, there's a spiral staircase that leads to the catwalks as well. Our teachers who will be using this facility for instruction and performances have visited it numerous times, and they're ecstatic over what our public and what our community has provided us. The curtains just recently came in, so they're still behind plastic. There's still some work to do in here, but the builders have assured us that they're on schedule, and they'll be ready for our September 1st convocation. If you notice all the pathways leading up the stairwell, all the end seats have little lights on them to illuminate the stairwell area. When the house lights go off, they look like small twinkling stars. It's really magnificent and beautiful. Wood grain finish throughout the entire interior of the auditorium. And again, if you look at the walls, the architects have done a great job with the builders in contouring the walls to help with the acoustical piece in our auditorium. State-of-the-art speaker systems on both sides of the stage, elevated, as well as embedded into the ceiling area, and it promises to really give us a great performance and sound piece in the new auditorium. Behind the wall, and we can't get back there today because it is a construction zone, we have a boys and girls dressing room as well. And the dressing room's equipped with lots of mirrors, those large globe Hollywood lights, a sound system that where kids can actually listen to the play as they're dressing so they know when their scene is coming up. This is also wired into our music classrooms so that as we have concerts, and as you know if you've been to our concerts, we usually have multiple performing groups throughout the evening. So if the concert band is performing, our orchestra can actually stay in their room and listen to the concert through a speaker system and know when their time is coming up to take the stage. So that is wired as well. And our theater arts and music teachers are really excited about that feature. Welcome to our gymnasium. Boy, what an improvement from our last school as well. It has a lot of great features here. As you can see above me, it has a beautiful speaker system that we'll certainly get our use out of, but it's acoustically tuned to what will happen in this gymnasium with large crowds as well. Also above me, you see a center divide net that lowers to the ground so we can actually divide our gym in half. You also see 3 globe lights above me. We'll be using that during wrestling matches when our wrestling mat will be placed at center court. When we have a match going on, we'll turn all the lights in the gym off and use those 3 globe lights specifically. To my right, you can see a huge screen, almost like a drive-in theater screen. I've never seen a screen that large, but we can lower that screen. I can put the entire student body at once in this gymnasium, and I can have presentations for our student body utilizing that screen if we need to. Notice the sawtooth design on the roof. You have huge panes of windows, glass up above us that lets natural sunlight come into the gymnasium. Again, a nice feature of the transparency, the openness of our school. Behind me, you can see the home bleachers, and the architects did a great job in designing into the bleachers white lettering for GHS, and it's really spectacular. And I know that when our visitors come into the gymnasium, even when those bleachers are pulled out, you can see the GHS in white, and it really is a good indicator of who we are and a reminder of who we are for all our visitors and our students every day. And right beneath me is our new logo. This is beautifully painted. It's a large Guilford Green G with feathers coming off of it. And this is the logo we'll be using from here on in. The logo of our school really kind of morphed into different kinds of logos over the years and years and years. And we thought it was time to really hone in on a logo that we could all agree upon and move forward with. So this is a beautiful rendition of our new logo, and we're putting it on all our personal wear, as well as the letterhead and school stationery, etc. Let's move into the auxiliary gym. So welcome to our auxiliary gym. If the truth be known, I've been a high school principal 26 years. I have never seen an auxiliary gym this large or with this many features, and I know that our community will utilize this to the fullest. As you can see above me, we have 2 indoor batting cages, one for softball, one for baseball, so our kids will be able to hit inside during inclement weather. You can also see above me and to my right and left what we call wrestling slings. We have one on this side, my left side. We have 2 on the back side of the gym. And our wrestling mats are stored in those slings. So it takes the wrestling mats off the ground and gives us more playing room and storage room on the surface. So we put those up in the air. And with a turn of the key, those slings will lower the wrestling mats to the ground. You roll them out. You can practice or have matches on them, roll them back up into the slings they go, and they go up into the ceiling area off the floor. We have 3 tiers of bleachers in the auxiliary gym, which is a great feature. I know our park and recreation is going to enjoy having tournaments in here, whether it's the winter time or the summertime. And we don't have to bring folding chairs into the auxiliary gym for our audience or fans to be seated. They actually can use bleachers. And a real unique feature of this gym is it belongs to our fencing team. You know, if the fencing team has won more state championships in this school than any other sport, and now they have their own fencing lanes. As you can see on the floor, all the white paint are fencing lanes. So there are 4 fencing lanes on each half of the gym. They now have bleachers for their fans and their parents. The community can watch them fence. And they also have 2 scoreboards at each end of the auxiliary gym that they can utilize as well. And another great feature of our auxiliary gym is actually the speaker system. It is designed like the speaker system in the main gym. So acoustically, it'll fit very well and sound very well in our auxiliary gymnasium. You know, as we end our tour, we've talked a lot about the instructional spaces, the ways that students will navigate our new high school. We've talked about the safety features with the security cameras and the screen TVs strategically placed throughout as well. But there's one thing we didn't mention, and I do want to thank all of you for this, and that's the climate-controlled atmosphere that we have. 36 miles of radiant tubing running through the floors of this high school. We have an underground ice-making machine to the east of our campus, powered by a small generator that pumps ice water through the floors. That integrates very nicely with the central air system, and it offsets costs for the cooling system in our school. So it's beautifully designed. And one other piece I wanted to mention before we left as well, and that's the generator, a huge generator that's located to the east of our school. As you know, this is a community shelter in time of need, and should we have to open our school and use it as a community shelter, that generator outside will power almost all of the first floor so that we can put many, many more people in this building than we could maybe at the community center. But this is will be used as a shelter as well. And I wanted to make sure that I mentioned the generator that we have outside to the east, and, as well as a thank you for that. And finally, I just wanted to end with this. I began this way and I want to end this way. I am the luckiest high school principal in Connecticut to administer not just to this school, but to this community. You know, there are three common threads that run true and through a successful high school. One is a tremendously talented teaching staff, and we have that here. The second is a student body that is second to none, and we are lucky to have those students walking our halls. They're great. I would trade them for anybody. They are the best in the state. And the third, and equally important, is a community that supports education. This community rallies, supports, nurtures this school system. And we can't wait to get all of you in our brand new high school and share it with you. Thank you, and I look forward to the new school year.